Hi, this is Alex from phpacademy.org, and this is a video tutorial for the new Boston. Now in this video we're going to be looking at Ajax and using a GET request to a specific page in order to return an auto-suggest style search box. So you may have seen on Google, if you use Google as a search engine, you may see that when you type in a value, or you start to type in a value, you will actually receive a list of recommended results based on what you've typed. So if I was to start typing in PH, it may automatically suggest PHP for me because this is a popular result and it is displayed underneath the text box. Now there's a couple of things we won't be doing in this tutorial because this is just demonstrating how we can use Ajax with PHP. We're not going to be using CSS to make everything look pretty because we're going to be focusing on the Ajax relative to the PHP. What we're also not going to be doing is searching it by popularity. What we're going to be doing is we're going to use an SQL query to match or match every time we press a key down. So if I'm typing PHP here, every time we press a key we're going to match what we've already got to the rest of a string inside a database. So let me just make this a bit clearer. Let me just open up my database that I've already created. Okay, so if you haven't already created a database, go into phpMyAdmin or whatever you use to administer your MySQL database, and you want to create a database called Ajax or something of your choice, but just remember I'm going to be using the name Ajax. Now we need a table inside of this database called names, or obviously whatever you choose to call it, but remember to add it in the tutorial in the substitute of what I've named it. And we have two field names. We've got ID and we've got name. Now ID is just something I always tend to put in a database just to keep track of how many records there are, and also the ordering of which each record was entered. So you can see that I've got a few names that I've already entered in. Let's just take a look at the database structure so you can see how I've set this up. We've got ID, which is a primary key, and it's an auto increment. So every time we insert a record, it will increment this value. And name is just a variable character of 40. So that's all you need to do. And then you want to put some dummy data inside your database, inside your table, sorry. And the data that you want to put in is that the data which, put a few names in first of people you might know, etc. And then choose a name that already exists but with, say, a different surname, for example. So when we start to type, let's just go back to context, when we start to type Alex like that, we'll get Alex Garrett and Alex Malcolm returned. And then when we continue to type, we might type Alex G, then Alex Malcolm will no longer match what we've currently typed, so Alex Garrett will be returned. So hopefully that makes sense. If you can though, add as many rows as you can in here, as many records as you can in here to get the best effect from this possible. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be creating a text area or a text input box first of all, and we're not going to have a submit button obviously because as the user types we want the auto suggest to work, so we're going to do this via Ajax, and our search.inc.php file is going to do the searching for us. So in index.php, let's just set up first of all our page, the head of our page, the body of our page, then we'll set up the area that the user can type in. We'll also then set up the div area where the results will be shown. So let's go ahead and create our HTML root tags. Let's go and do the head tags just underneath that, and body. So obviously feel free to properly set up your document. I'm just keeping this really clean and simple for the purposes of this tutorial. So in body, the first thing we want is a form. We don't need an action, and we don't need a method because we're not posting this form. This form is just going to, the reason we're creating this form is so we can access the elements inside the form. So I'm going to give it an ID, and I'm also going to give it a name. So the name and the ID, we're just going to call this search, and I'm going to end my form there. So inside the form, I want some text to tell me what to do. So I'm going to say type a name. And then underneath that I'm going to have an input box, and this is type text. The name of this can be a keyword because this is the place where we're typing keywords. And then we want this on mouse down, on key down, what do we call it, event. So we want an on key down event. And what we're going to do is every time a key is pressed, so every time we're in focus on this, let's just preview it so I can explain a bit better. So every time we're in focus on this, we can we'll click in here and we'll start to type something, and every time we press a key down, so I'm pressing a key down now, the Ajax page or the Ajax code will load in this search.inc.php page that we have here. So let's go ahead and make up the name of our function now, so we can put that into our JavaScript in a moment. So I'm going to call this find match. We'll call it find match. Okay, so obviously now that we have this find match function, we're going to need to add that function up here a bit later on inside JavaScript. So let's go and create our div. We need to create an ID for our div as well, because remember, within the Ajax we get this element by its ID, and then we load some HTML into this. And this HTML is going to be the returned values that we find from search.inc.php.